Hi, in this video we will talk about a new feature introduced in Splunk 9 called the configuration change tracker. Now let me give you a background of this one. So in Splunk, if you see, like we have a general requirement, something like this one. So let's say somebody, because in a big project, so there are a lot of people working on same knowledge base, right? Like knowledge objects, right? So basically like save searches or alerts or something. So it may happen that like several people are changing those knowledge objects as well. So now, till now, there was no proper way in Splunk to track what changes happen to those objects. Like in terms of, let's say, for save search, you could have changed the search details over there, right? Or any other, like the cron schedule or something like related to that particular save search. So there was no proper way. There was certain way you can see like change happened for that knowledge object, but what exactly that change happened, there was no way to track, right? So in Splunk 9, so they have introduced this configuration change tracker. Basically they have introduced a new index called config tracker. So using that, we will be able to track all the changes related to our conf file only. Okay, so that means the files ending with .conf exception, basically .conf extension, so we will be able to track changes for those files over there. Okay, so that means probably we will not still be able to do the dashboard level, basically we still not be able to track the dashboard level changes till now, but at least the knowledge objects level changes we will be able to track this one, because most of the knowledge objects related settings are stored in .conf file over there, right? So if I just show you the index first, so if I just see index equals to config tracker equals to config tracker here, say let's say for last 24 hours, we'll see. Probably I need to go back to last 7 days and see if there is some data. Yeah, there are certain kind of data. Now first of all, let us try to see what is its source. The source is basically this. So whatever, so currently what is happening, so I am in Splunk 9 now, if you see it. Okay, so I am in Splunk 9 now. So this feature is only available from Splunk 9 onwards. So there was a new log file they created called the configuration underscore change.log. So this source will be basically available in this particular index underscore config tracker index, and this is the source type Splunk configuration change. So that is the source type for this kind of logs over here. Okay, and access wise, only currently admin will be able to access this particular index here. Okay, so that you need to remember. Now a particular event will look like something like this one. If you see, there is a component, then there is a data, then what the date time and the log label, right? Now if I just expand the data, so it basically lists down like, so from the path key you will be able to know which particular file has been changed. If you see, like for our TMDB, when I was basically doing some kind of POC on this one, so I changed the save searches.conf. We'll see an example today as well for the TMDB app only. So for that means for our TMDB app save searches.conf, I just updated a save search. Now which save search I updated, if you just expand these changes over here, okay, and go over here, so the stanza, it will be like this is the save search name, right? As for the save searches.conf, the stanza name basically tells us the name of the save search, right? So this is the save search I updated, and these are the properties basically I updated over there. Okay, thus including the search as well, if you see it. Okay, so this is how it will be logged over there. Now if I just talk about what are the different conf files it will be monitoring, so if you just go to the documentation, so all the conf files for the etc system, etc apps, users, slave apps for our cluster, right? And this instance.cfg, so all these files will be, all the conf files belong to this path will be monitored. Now if you want like any of these files not to monitor, so in the server.conf, So there is a stanza called config change tracker. So let me show you that. So if I just go to etc system default server.conf and open it, so this is the stanza over here, which basically maintains all the settings related to this particular configuration change stuff here, right? So now if you just go to the documentation of the server.conf, so as I was saying, like if you want some of the files you do not want to monitor, okay, so you need to basically add them to the deny list here. Okay, that's the one thing. You can even provide the regular expression over here as well. Okay, so something like this one. So if I just go down, so you can, for like, let's say I'm currently working on Windows system. So if you just give the folder name over here, okay, under etc apps search app, that means, so it will not monitor any of the configuration file for the search app here. Okay, similarly you can give some kind of regular expression over here as well, like for a particular configuration file, let's say under search app. So let's say I do not want to monitor the savesearches.conf in the local folder, right, or default folder here. So you can give a regular expression, something like this one as well, similar in Nix environment as well. Okay, so this is the concept of deny list. Now when it is monitoring a particular file, right, so it could happen that in that file we have a lot of sensitive information like the password, SIM key or SSL password. So by default Splunk basically ignore these fields over here. Okay, and if you want to have some more fields to be ignored, so if I just go to the documentation here, so there is a exclude fields here. Okay, so that you can use to ignore more fields, but there is a particular format, like the format is something like this one, like the configuration file name, then colon the stanza name, then colon the key name over here. Very simple format. So if you do this one, so it will, those keys will not be tracked, those properties will not be tracked by Splunk. And by default this one, right, so basically disable enable means very simple, like whether you want to enable that configuration change tracker or not. Now there is a mode called auto, diff and track only. So if you see the server.conf, currently the mode is auto. So I think it is always better to keep auto over here, which basically allows Splunk to monitor all the changes related to the conf files over here. Okay, and auto and diff I think works in very similar way over there. And track only means it will basically log the configuration file changes, but it will basically exclude that configuration settings value over there. Okay, and the main difference between the auto and the track only is, for auto settings, like it will basically monitor for all the configuration files, but if you create an empty file, or let's say you create an empty stanza and do not create any kind of key value pairs over there under that particular stanza, so it will not basically fire that configuration change related event, so it will not monitor those files over here. But in track only, it will monitor that stuff as well over there. Okay, so that's the mode. And there are a couple of other settings like lock throttling disabled and lock throttling threshold MS. So this is basically used, so let's say like for each and every change in your configuration file, so Splunk will basically create an event over there, right? So it may happen that you will have so many events, let's say if you are changing that file frequently over there, right? So if you want to minimize that, so there, let's say for, you can give basically a time span in that lock throttling threshold MS, okay, where inside that time span whatever changes you have done, it will be logged as a single event over there. Okay, so these two are basically used to reduce the number of events Splunk will generate in that config tracker, in this particular config tracker index over here. Okay, and this lock throttling disable, these things will only work if you see there is a dependency on the Linux system on iNotify API. Now when it comes to this iNotify, so there are two ways Splunk can track the changes in your configuration file. either using this iNotify API for the Linux based system or through the polling. Okay, so mostly for the Windows based system it will be using the polling stuff over there, and that it will poll for every 30 seconds over there. Okay, so now let us try to I think yeah, we discussed most of the stuff over here. Let us try to get an idea, like an example here. So what I'll do is, if I just go to apps TMDB, so this is our index equals to TMDB index. I just do it for last 7 days probably. Okay, so we have this many number of events. So what I'll do is I will create a sample save search. Okay, so that particular save search, whatever, so the thing is, whenever you will be creating it, updating it or deleting it, all those changes will be tracked by Splunk, right? So let us see what it is happening here. So what I'll do is I will create a new save search over here, and the same thing will be applied for alerts as well. So I will not discuss separately on that because the alert data is also saved in the savesearch.conf, right? Only difference is that like alert has some actions over there. So let's take a query. So for our TMDB index, so let's say if I just do something like this one, I'll just take the movie ID, original language, title, and the popularity. Using this one, I'll just create a save search. Anyway, it does not make any sense, but for now, we just want to get an idea about whether those config tracker index is getting updated or not, right? That's the main purpose here. So I can give 0 and now for all time. That is fine for now. App is TMDB, time range, that's fine. Save it. So let's give a title called TMDB config tracker demo. So let's go ahead with this one here. So I'll just click on save. So we have a save search. I'll just make it as app label and editable for everybody, because we need this one because what I'll do is we will log in as another user, then we will try to change this save search as well and see whether that is getting tracked as well or not. Okay, so once we do that one, so ideally an event should be available in our config tracker. So let's do that one. So I'll just open a new search window here. So index equals to config tracker. Here let's search for last 15 minutes. I think that should be available for last 15 minutes. We have an event for now, and if I just expand it, now the action is update because probably I will already have that savesearches.conf file present in my TMDB local folder. So that's why the action became update over here. If you do not have this one, probably the action would be add over there. Now if I just click on the changes here, so if you see the stanza I have created is this one here, right? So if I just open it, probably we can see that one as well. And etc apps, if I just go to TMDB app and local folder savesearches.conf, so let me try to open this one. So this is the stanza we have, this is the save search we have created over here, right? And the same thing is basically reflecting over here as well. And these are the properties it has added, basically action, email, use, NS, subject. So these things, right? So all these properties are listed as one by one over here, if you see it. Okay, including the search over here. And if you see for each and every property, there is a new value as well as old value over here. Now this particular save search was not in exist before, that's why there was no old value over here, only new values are there. Now if we just update this particular save search, there will be a old value as well as new value over there, which we'll eventually see. So but before that, let us try to work on this particular data. So probably what we'll do is in the next video we will try to create a dashboard. Okay, so for that, whatever necessary queries we may need, we will try to build it out. Now it may happen that from your config tracker index, you want to see the changes in the conf files for a particular app, right? Now the app context, nowhere it is mentioned over here, but from the path you can easily determine this one, right? Because from the path I can see under etc apps, it has changed the savesearch.conf for the TMDB app, right? So if I can just extract this guy here, so it will be my app context over here, right? So let us try to do that. Eval app context, I think I did it previously. So it is just simple, this data path, whatever we have it over here. So this path is actually extracted as data.path, if you see it over here, right? Now when we are using eval, so and if I just want to, if we have a special character in my field name, to get the value of that particular field, we will use single quote, otherwise we will use double quotes to get the field name basically, right? Which we discussed in our eval videos, so we can refer to that one. So what I am doing is over here is I'm just splitting that one based on this backward slash. Maybe if you are in Linux, it will be forward slash, right? And then I'm just taking the third from the last, I'm just taking the third one, which is our TMDB app over here, right? And I'm just taking the MV index from there, because split will basically create a MV value, MV field over there, right? So if I just do this one, so our app context is becoming TMDB over here. So that's good stuff. And then let's say I just want to currently see the changes for our TMDB app. So I'll just write app context equals to TMDB, and I will just try to get some values over here. So I'm just taking these values like the app context. Then if you see from this JSON, right, this action field, all this old value, new value fields are already extracted over here, like data action, the name, like what particular properties has been changed, then their new value and old value, it is there, right? And as well as the stanza name over there. So all these things I am just taking it over here. And if you see, like we have the special character here, so that's why to get the field name, I'm just using the double quotes over here. Okay, so this should give me this one over here. So let's try to take the stanza as well. So I'll just say the stanza name over here. I'll just copy this one. So we will know basically for which save search we have changed it, right? So stanza, this one over here. So this should give me some information about the app, the save search, basically what action I have done, and some changes, like for email there is a old value and new value over here. Now let us try to change that save search and see if we have change triggered or not in our config tracker index. So let's say I will add something called release date. I think we do not have this one, right? Yeah, we can add the release date over here. So I am just changing the search of this particular save search, right? I'll just click on save. Now then ideally that means for last 15 minutes I should be having a change over here for my for this particular save search over here, right? So as Splunk will be polling every 30 seconds, I think 30 seconds is already passed over here. No, it is still not. We may need to wait for 30 seconds to have this change available for us. Okay, now after 30 seconds, if you see it, like we got another event here, right? So for this particular save search, an update happened for the search property, right? And this was the old value and this was the new value over here. And if you see the release date, we added it over here, it's coming up over here in the new value over here. Okay, so that means it is able to track the changes in our save search. Now the $1,000,000 question, who changed it? There is no way to know from these events like who changed this particular save search, right? So now I think probably in future release, maybe that information Splunk may add. I'm not sure about this one, but let's try to see whether we can fix it in any other way or not. So what I'll do is we will go to our favorite index called internal, right, from where we track basically all the logs from Splunk, right? So let's do it for last 60 minutes. I think this should be fine. And what I'll search is I will search for this safe search name, and let's see whether we have any event available or not. Okay, we found couple of, like, I think 6 events over here. Let's try to analyze this event. So there is but first of all, these are all like Splunk DUI access logs, right? And if you see, there is a post request happened on this safe searches. So this is the endpoint name for the safe search. Like if you want to do some API calls for the Splunk safe searches, you will basically use this particular endpoint, right? And this is the safe search name. That means somebody, and that guy is admin basically, has done a post request on this safe search, and the status is 200 over here. That means it is successfully able to do some kind of changes over here, right? Otherwise it would have been a GET request over here, which we do not bother. We want to get only the post requests over here, right? So let us try to filter that. So what I'll do is from the status, I should be bothering about 200 requests first of all. Then from the method, I should be only bothering about the post request over here, right? So now it comes to how I can get the username, or whether so if we can basically get this Stanja name from here and the app name from here, probably whatever search we have created for this config tracker, we can join with this Stanja name over there to get the username, right, who has make changes to this particular app, particular safesearches.conf, right? So probably what I'll do is we will try to do similar stuff like whatever we did it over here, like using this split and MB index. I'll just try to get the app name and the Stanja name from there, right? So nothing fancy. I'll just copy that code. So what I'll do is so this is the Stanja. If you see, like, URI path is coming like this one, so that's why I have used / over here. The last one is the Stanja name, and the fourth one is the app name. So that is what I have used it over here. So similar stuff here. Okay, so our app context is done, as well as our Stanja name is also done over here. Stanja is also done over here, right? And if you see, like, there is some ACL as well, because we have to make changes to that. So whenever we created this one, right, we changed the permission of the safe search as well, right? So that's why there was one post request on the ACL as well, which we do not bother about basically, right? So that means we are only bothering about the app context as TMDB, and the Stanja is this one over here, right? So that means I will just say where our app context is TMDB and Stanja is equals to that guy over here, right? So our safe search name. This query could be written in various other ways. I'm just trying to make it simple. So I'll just copy this one here, right? So we got the two changes. We have done it over here for our safe search, right? And also, if you see, it has created a new field called user here, right? It already created a field called user, which is admin, which is basically extracting this guy. So we do not need to basically separately extract this one. So this is good news. So we can just table the necessary information from here, right? So underscore time will take the app context, the Stanja name, and the username. So this should be at least good information for us to join with this guy over here. Okay, probably we'll do it in the latter stage when we will be working on the dashboard, but this is a good stuff which has the potential to join with this one over here, right, to get the full picture. Now let us test it in another way. We just updated the Save Search from as an admin user. Now let's try to do it in as a separate user. So I think I already created a separate user called test. I will just log in there, okay, and try to change this particular Save Search again. So what I'll do is, from our TMDB index, I will add video average, this particular field. Okay, so I'll do is I will log out from admin. I will log in with the test user. Hopefully I remember the password. Yeah, I remember it. Now if I just go to search reports and alerts for the TMDB app, right, so for all owners, so this is the Save Search. That's why I have already given the full permission for all the users, so that I can just change it as other user. So I'll just add this vote average over here. I'll click on save. Now we need to log in as an admin to see the config tracker index, right? So let us log in over there, log in, and log in from here as well. So let's try to see whether a new event should be fired here, right, with all these changes. And if you see it, like the vote average change already present over here, right? For we just only change the search over here. So from our config tracker, we are able to see what changes has been done. And from this search, we should be able to see who has make changes to this one. This is our test user who has make a change to this particular Save Search in the TMDB app, right? So I think we are able to answer this question, like who has made the change and what changes has been done, right? Using this information, probably we will try to create a simple dashboard which will help for all the different, where user can basically select the apps, the different searches names, or maybe other, let's say it could be for macros as well, right, in the macros.conf or some other stuff, right, other configuration file. So which we can try to see how user can filter that stuff over there. Okay, so hopefully we got a good idea about this config tracker index in Splunk and how to use it over there. Okay, so hopefully this video was helpful. See you in the next video.